Well, welcome to CryptoTwits Podcast. Hey, are you going to be all right? That's, I mean, is that something you have to check on, by the way?
That's a 2-year-old directly above. I don't know what he is doing.
Yep. That's also one of the reasons why I got an office outside the house, because not just because of the loud noises, but little children who can escape from grandparents busting into my... How do you keep them out of your office?
So I'm in the basement. They're on like the middle floor. So most of the time they're like the top floor, like by the rooms and playing in there, or middle floor on the other side. Although, you know, this is like the playroom next to my office. They just never use it. They like to come in and just dump everything. So then there's just toys everywhere. So then it's like, yeah, this is the playroom, but you can't play in it because all you do is dump toys out.
Yep. I have toys here for them on the rare occasions that they come here. And every time I remind them that there are toys here, I regret it. It is insane how much of a mess kids make in such a short period of time.
Yeah, they don't even play with them. They just throw them.
Yeah, just take it out. All right. Anyways, so to confirm, Joey's house is not collapsing on him. That's good. All right. So, well, I don't really even know where to start. Something about oil. So, I mean, here's what I wrote this week in one line. Peace rally to near 76K. Then there was an ultimatum and it crashed to 68. Then we're in negotiations and it rallied a little. Then Iran says it's fake news. There's a limp recovery. Now we're sitting on a resistance line and just kind of poking around because you have around like 16-ish billion in options expiring tomorrow. Oh, isn't PCE tomorrow too?
Actually, I think you're right. Let me check.
I think it is tomorrow. But while you're looking that up, and then just like toss in there if that's right or not. But going into the capitulation station here to start it off. So if we go back to the 22nd, 290 million, let's say 300 million in liquidations. 85 of that was in longs. By Monday on the 23rd, we had 400 million in futures liquidations that hit the markets. Again, mostly long positions. That's most since the 25th of February. Then we have the whipsaw. So on the 23rd, there was the announcement that like, hey, we're not going to hit these energy facilities. And then Bitcoin went shaboom baboom to 71.2K. But then Iran denied it. Things went down another $1,200 for Bitcoin, 450 million in more liquidations. But which is interesting, like in the whole like, oh, things are looking better to not looking better. You had 280 million in shorts, which is like the most in a short period of time that shorts have experienced for a while. And I don't remember what newsletter I wrote it, but when you looked at the funding rates and such for crypto, it's kind of like things are like kind of like double reversed, where people who are shorting are kind of getting paid to hold on to those shorts as opposed to the other way, as opposed to the other way around. So yeah, you have these odd dynamics in the perp space and futures, but yeah, was it PCE tomorrow?
So what I'm seeing is April 9th is going to be the February 2026 data release.
And, oh, yeah, this morning you were talking about Mara, and I just saw that they sold like $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. Did you read why?
I want to say it was to pay down debt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Something.
A $1 billion repurchase of their convertible senior notes. So they sold 15,133 Bitcoin, but it's 0% convertible senior notes due 2030 and 2031.
I don't know how much of this is like a private credit related issue.
I mean, we've been seeing so much stuff about private credit of late. That wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, that's like one of the things going on in the background that if like most people really just have exposure to crypto, stocks, sports betting, blah, blah, blah. Not many people are like, I would really like to get into the private credit market. Not many retail people, just that's their cup of tea. Usually start thinking about that when you're, 40 and or you have kids. You start thinking that might be fun stuff to put money into.
I think the big story we're all waiting to hear your take on is this stablecoin issue that circled down, 35%, Coinbase falling. I mean, everybody's been impacted by that one.
Oh, yeah. All right. So for those of you who don't know, there's this thing called the Clarity Act, and it is basically there's an argument going on. The banking lobby and the people who are in their pockets. The banking lobby basically says if stablecoins are able to generate yield like we generate yield, that is a trillions of dollars that is at threat. Community banks, basically, the banks are saying this is the zombie apocalypse version of what happens to banks. Everybody's going to leave. Financial institutions are going to collapse. Small town and rural lending facilities are just going to blah 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 blah. And that's their shtick. And
you got to strike fear in everybody to prevent something from hurting your business. The world will end if you do this to us.
Funny story is, though, not too long ago, the credit union, like the credit union's like main lobbying entity organization version of the American Banking Association, the credit unions, they had reached out to the OCC and said, hey, we would like to get into the stablecoin thing. It's kind of like the total opposite. Biggest middle finger they've probably given banks in a long time, because credit unions are not, they're like banks, but they are not banks. They are different. The whole big shtick thing involving stablecoins with the Clarity Act, it comes down to yield. Now, unless it came out sometime this morning and before we started talking, nobody has seen the actual language of what the banks and the senators. By the way, I fucking hate this thing where like the banks are involved in this at all. I mean, it's just I didn't know they got a vote. I didn't know that
you
they
didn't
were
know we
legislators.
elected them. Yeah.
When do we get to vote on them to be part of this? But like Jamie Dimon is, he's like, if you want to be a bank, and the stablecoin issuers, I forgot who it was, basically said, so you also want one-to-one deposits, because if for stablecoin issuers who are generating yield, they have to have reserves for every stablecoin that is a one-to-one, but most of them are like 1.1 or 1.2 to 1. So banks, do they have to do that?
Pretty sure they don't.
What would happen if banks all of a sudden like level playing field, and then the regulations like, okay, for every dollar that you have out exposed in a loan of some capacity, you have to have that in your bank. Fractional reserves, not a thing they probably want to get rid of. Not a thing we want to get rid of either.
They want everyone else regulated, not them.
Yeah, this is the biggest threat that big banks have had to their business model in 300 years. I don't know, something. But yeah, so they don't like this.
Biggest threat since cowboys.
Probably.
Banks.
Yeah, on the trains.
Wild West.
Now, so there's like a whole bunch of banks. So Coinbase is like Brian Armstrong posted something about how maybe this isn't going to be that bad. But then Trump's dude, who's basically like running this whole thing, he had posted something like there's a lot of misinformation and we don't know what's going on. There's a lot of fear-mongering on both sides, which he's probably right. But then, I don't know, the Clarity Act, there's more stuff in it than just stablecoin yields.
But then I've also seen where Brian Armstrong has come out saying like they can't operate based on the proposed legislation with it. So I mean, I've just seen so much stuff. Same with the stable coins. I've seen where there was someone on Twitter talking about if this went away, Coinbase would actually be more profitable because they lose on this. So it's just such a messy situation.
Yeah, when you get into the initial reaction is like is the one that I still have is like, oh, looks like big banks got like a hockey stick save here, which I don't think is cool. But also there are other arguments. But the one thing that I think Coinbase was talking about is that there's ambiguity related to, I forget what the Eleanor Tarrant came out with like a quote about, that basically the regulators would have a year to determine what type of activity is considered okay and what isn't. Which that's too vague. The language that she had even quoted was very vague. But again, I mean, I guess like maybe not having an opinion on something we haven't even read yet is a good stance to have. But also, all the information we have that I've read is like, I don't like this very much.
I also look at the people regulating it that don't even understand the technology or like the entire situation.
I mean, at least the SEC and the CFTC, they've had like a bromance. Well, they had a bromance yesterday. They had another bromance yesterday about tokenization. I haven't gotten to read into what happened with that meeting. I think it did happen yesterday. Yeah, but anyways, they at least we have like a friendly crypto regulators on both sides, but remains to be seen what is in that text and language because I would really love to see it. Anyways, and honestly, once Polymarket has when I wrote about it yesterday, Polymarket had the odds of the Clarity Act getting completed and passed this year at 69%. So that's, better than what it was like at 14%. So we'll see. Senator Loomis also retweeted that tweet from what's his face about there's a lot of people saying things that nobody doesn't know yet. I mean, I will say that the lawmakers who first brought this up, like Senator Loomis, who's been like very pro crypto, pro DeFi, she has been very. I mean, it looks like she's been very, like, okay with what has been happening. So is Tim Scott, who's been pro crypto and pro into the DeFi side. So we'll see. But they got to figure out a better way to say something like, we found something that the banks are in line with. Like, well, who the fuck cares what they think? You guys don't work for them. You work for your constituents, the people. Like, who cares what they think? Well, I mean, which is easy to say, but
yeah, it's I don't know. If it's something that goes against one group of companies, having those companies have a say in it just doesn't make any sense. I'm sure CD companies hated streaming, but you don't see like Best Buy up on the hill.
Nope. Or AOL. AOL was the largest CD manufacturer. Reason that CDs existed for many years, even though they weren't used much, was AOL. Do you remember getting those in the mail all the time? Oh my God. There are some watchers and listeners who have no idea what the hell I'm talking about.
I remember when like my dad would go buy TurboTax and then he'd get like enough licenses that we'd all share the CD until,
oh my God,
me and all my brothers used it. And then it's like, oh no, you only got the one with 3. It's like, oh, I can get one more.
Oh yeah. They used to have those like on the edge of the shelves in like Walmart and Target and all the other places.
Comp USA. Man.
Hey, are they still around?
No, I don't think so.
That's too bad. Edgar, are they around? Mr. Producer?
Let's see.
Oh, but it is even there.
Comp.
Well, it's worth looking that up. Let's see. Ooh, this was interesting. I thought that Bitmine, ETH, Ethereum, Tom Lee's baby. Ethereum outspent Strategy over the last week by $64 million. So Bitmine purchased 140.74 million in Ethereum, while Strategy bought in that same time period 112. Wait, actually, where was that? 76.6 million. So I'm talking about like last week. That's funny. By the way,
well, again, private credit, like, is MicroStrategy able to, raise free money nonstop in order to buy more?
I don't think they have any more like private debt, do they?
Oh, I don't know.
Like, I thought they got rid of that. Don't quote me on that. You know what? I got so many numbers and things going through my brain. I that's why, you know what? It's easier to write these things down and check them later than it is to talk about them live.
Yeah, because I thought it was private credit because they were doing like the asset-backed financing where they would like use their Bitcoin to finance and get some cash and then buy more, like that whole thing.
Yeah.
But if they had a different strategy, then I get why they're called
I
strategy.
have to double check it. Somebody's going to go like, yeah, you could know what you're talking about. You are actually very correct, angry reader, watcher.
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm asking.
I don't currently know. Okay. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, everything's like shit the bed. But real world asset tokenization, that is the thing. Talked about a little bit during our meeting. And people, and it's not even like in the news much at all. I mean, if people were looking for something to talk about in traditional finance that is something not gray, dark, cloudy with a 100% chance of pain, they could look at something like the money flowing into anything involving the real world asset space, because there is a metric crap ton of money going into that. Like as far as sectors go. Oh, also, and this is more short term, but the crypto sector / category that is doing very well is AI, oddly, and the real world asset tokenization. AVAX1, AVAX, that's the ticker. They engaged Treehouse to expand yield generation on its AVAX holdings. There's a growing list of single asset treasury entities that are doing yield. So, like Grayscale wants to convert one of their G SUI. That's a yield generating one. Basically, look at anything that is a crypto treasury that has yield. I bet you will see a lot of inflows, and it's something that is not getting a lot of attention. Because if we're going to get into a world where the stock market is going to be flat to lower or just kind of like poo-poo around because of uncertainty with energy, blah, 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 or because of labor disruptions with AI or fusion and all that jazz, the conversion of money is going to go into the income side of things, and that is in yield. And there'll be there already is kind of a yield war going on. Yeah, there is a yield war going on. Otherwise, you wouldn't have banks up on Capitol Hill saying, please stop, don't make us have to work. Because there's like StreamX, like gold-backed real-world asset tokens that have lending attached to it, that are backed by gold. I mean, this shit's just crazy how much of it there is right now. Let's see. That's real. So let's see. Bhutan offloaded 37 million in Bitcoin, if we care. I don't know why I put that in my notes, but there it is.
Who is Bhutan?
Bhutan, the country. Bhutan.
Where? I couldn't even tell you where that was on a map, and I'm pretty good with geography.
I think I might have just put that in my notes to like look it up, but I think it was an Arkham article that flagged it. I don't remember off the top of my head.
A small landlocked kingdom in South Asia.
Well, it's good I put that in there because that fucking matters. All right.
I mean, how much did they own? Like 2 Bitcoin?
I don't know. They transferred 519.7 million, 519.7 Bitcoin worth 36.75 million to 2 wallets. A sovereign wealth fund that mines Bitcoin with hydropower. So
It's
wait,
so
I don't know if
small.
that technically offload. Yeah.
They have 790,000 people in the country. Where do they get all this money?
2 early Bitcoin OG wallets have sold 117 million worth of Bitcoin post FOMC that we had. And let's see, the Trump oil thing, blah, blah, blah. I didn't even want to really talk. By the way, if anybody watches this, if I get an email about why don't you talk about oil more, dear, I really don't need to because that's pretty much all in the news.
I just can't keep up with the price. One second I'll look, it's up 10%. Then same day it's down 8%. Then, hey, stocks are moving lower because oil's higher. Then oil's lower and stocks are still moving lower. I'm like, I just can't win right now.
Yeah, if I'm looking at so Brent is up 2.69%. WTI is up 1.63%. The Brent and West Texas have had they've had some weird divergences or underperformance and underperformance and outperformance between the two. Usually they kind of march in lockstep, but that's a little different right now. You know, the strait is open though. Like it's not like there's a barricade of Iranian ships waiting to get bombed, like lining up and preventing people from going through.
Are the mines still in the water?
You know what?
Well, they're also threatening. It's like certain ones can go through, the other ones will shoot at.
You know what? When I go to Leech Lake and people are like, are there leeches in the water? 2 questions that I always have are, it is called Leech Lake for a reason. And number 2, you don't find out unless you go into the water. I would imagine that
I think
finding mines is a little bit more.
Yeah, I was going to
dangerous.
say, I would say mines and missiles, a little bit scarier than a leech, but
You know what, though? You just never know until you dip a toe in the water.
you never know till you dip a toe.
Can we put the right here, like the more you know?
I always go to use that GIF, but then I get the one that's the mo, you know, and it just never makes it. Like, just give me the Reading Rainbow one. The mo, you know.
Yeah. I wrote about this one yesterday, I think. So Resolve Labs had a stablecoin called the ticker was USR. This is just I think it's funny. So an attacker deposited 100,000 in USDC, that's Coinbase's stablecoin, and they received 50 million in the USR stablecoin. So 500 times. What did I write? Roughly 500 times. That is 500 times. Not roughly. It is. But here's the deal. So, the guy got a hold of a private key, and for some reason there was no limit on checking collateral or like how much you could mint. It was literally like a free money printing thing. So, the guy got a hold of it. I don't remember if it was illegal or not, but he kind of like used the protocol and the key the way it was meant to be used because there was no guardrails there. Anyways, so Resolve's official documentation lists 14 audit engagements conducted by 5 different security firms. Project also advertised a $500,000 bug bounty. Oh, by the way, I want to make clear, the guy didn't get like 500 or $50 million. I think he extracted 24 million. But, so far this year, there have been a lot of, there's been 137 million in DeFi exploits so far.
I've seen quite a few where even like that fat finger trade that a dude made like a week or two ago, that one, but he even had to click like, I understand there's a difference, but like he must not have cared, or you got so much, but either way, you don't want to lose that money.
Yup. Now, a lot of the stuff, this is a whole different conversation, but if any of you have ever heard of something called like sandwich attacks or MEV attacks, the sandwich attacks, basically what happens is in DeFi, and depending on the protocol you're built on and the exchange and blah, blah, blah. So if it's like on Ethereum, everything's public. So let's say you put out a limit order that you want to buy something at this price. It's not hidden. All right. It's visible. And so then you have all these bots that are on all of these other exchanges, and they basically can legally front run you. And there's arbitrage opportunities that they can capture. And I'm very much watering this down, but there's making everything public and visible in DeFi, especially on decentralized exchanges, has been a recipe for disaster. It's like, the guy who like tried to convert 500,000 in stable coins from USDC to USDT and ended up only getting 15 grand. And that's because that transaction was, and by the way, like these aren't things that people can look at a screen and capitalize on. The bots are just checking everything that's happening on chain, and then they intercept it quickly and are able to execute things ahead of it. And that is the world we are in. Thankfully, though, there are some like the Midnight token and some other protocols are thankfully like learning how to shield or protect the order so they don't get this kind of shenanigans. But that's where we're at. And people clearly love DeFi and DEXs still because this doesn't faze people. This doesn't stop people from getting involved in it. even though the largest hacks and financial crimes in the history of the planet occur.
I mean, that kind of adds to the excitement of it. Like crypto's always been seen as the Wild West of finance and anti-fiat money, like just that whole way. So I feel like it just kind of comes with the territory and they find it exciting.
It is. It's
like using margin. Like, oh yeah, I could use margin. For every $10 I have to borrow margin. 10.
Like Hyperliquid. Oh yeah, Coinbase just came out with perpetual futures 24/7 trading in the Mag 7 stocks and some ETFs. Not for the U.S. citizen though, but they have up to 20x leverage on the ETFs at least. Hopefully we'll get to do that here in the States, which you can do already.
I want nothing more than 20x leverage on my meta.
What is that saying? It's leverage is a double-edged sword. You get stabbed with it on both sides. Yep. Let's see. And then Hyperliquid. So Hyperliquid, I didn't put the numbers in here, but they have made like commodity perpetual futures and Hyperliquid. They're now in the top 10 of the traded products, and they are making money hand over fist. And if you've read news that the CME wants to get futures trading 24/7, it's probably a lot of it to do not just because of what's happening with oil right now and Hyperliquid, but because they've seen the reading on the wall and everybody else has, is that decentralized exchanges have a huge advantage over regulated derivatives because they close on a Friday. And then, if people want to make money on what's going on in the world over the weekend, they're going to look for ways to do it. Hyperliquid, you can do it, but you can't do it on. If you're using like if you're on TradeStation or anything using the CME. So they want to get in. They want to get in on that money, which they'll make a lot.
Yeah, I mean, everything's going at 24/5, eventually 24/7. All these big exchanges. I mean, they're going to make so much money off this.
Yes. Yeah, and like the thing is I remember when, what was it? Never mind. It's left my brain already. But yeah, ever since decentralized exchanges came out, and decentralized exchanges have had 24/7 trading on, synthetic futures and stuff for years. But it wasn't really until, I would say, over the last 3 or 4 years that people, really got into speculation, and I'm not talking like from GameStop days. I'm talking like matured after that. Now you have retail traders all around the globe, and especially in the U.S., who are actively using these decentralized exchanges to, do all their speculating and their crazy leverage. So it's nice seeing the CME finally doing something like, hey, we need to get in on this, and instead of using Congress as a like a thing to say, let's stop anybody, especially people from the U.S., from doing this. So yeah. Also, I think for a lot of people who in the States who use Hyperliquid and other entities where they have to use a VPN or whatever way they're getting access, they'll probably feel a lot better, and there will definitely be more protections using a futures clearing merchant to trade these. I mean, it'll be a lot. It'll be a lot more. I don't know what the word is. What am I trying to say? Safer and I don't know what the word is. Better, maybe. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Oh, things we've got going on tomorrow. Options expiry. I wrote down here 14 billion in notational open interest for Bitcoin, but I think it's closer to 16 billion now. I'm not sure. The max pain magnet is at around 75K-ish. On the 28th. Wait, no. Wait, what day is today?
26th.
Yeah, a PC. We said PCEs on Friday, right?
Well, then I Googled it when the next PCE is, and it said April 9th.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Hold on here. Let me check this out. Yeah, let's...
Yeah, next PCE from BEA scheduled for April 9th for February 2026.
All right. Yeah. That's right. April, the Clarity Senate markup happening sometime in April. We'll see if it gets anywhere, but otherwise, yeah. Basically, folks, crypto, like every other risk-on asset right now, is at the mercy of what is happening in a little waterway between two countries where two aircraft carrier strike groups are currently parked. And yeah, but you know what's really cool though is that Bitcoin and crypto in general, they have done very well in this whole process, while gold has completely tanked. Gold, and yesterday's headline for the newsletter. Peter Schiff is staring at a wall somewhere, and I honestly hope he's okay because gold had the. I wanted to write about it like earlier this week, but it had 10 straight days of the open below the close. And hold on, what is this here? Sorry, that was Barkley asked me if I'll be on the space today. I said yes. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the last time that gold had 10 straight days lower, women had just gotten the right to vote. The Spanish flu is technically still going on around the globe. The Treaty of Versailles, the ink was barely dry. What else? Commercialized radio wasn't the thing still. There weren't vacuum cleaners yet. No, wait, there were vacuum cleaners. That's because I took that out. I just had to double check that. 106 years.
What was the Babe Ruth one?
Oh, Babe Ruth was traded to the Yankees.
Yeah, there it is. Opening day. Even though opening night last night, but it's weird.
Yeah.
Today's opening day.
Yeah, gold is in a bear market. It's just been it decided that a real shooting war in the Middle East when oil's at $112 a barrel, that was the time gold decided, I'm not really a good store of value. Oh, well. But that's our CryptoTwits podcast. Thank you all for watching. And depending on if some people get back, Joy and I will be here together, or he won't be here. We'll find out. Well, that sounds like in a bad way.
That sounds terrible.
That sounds like...
what do you know?
It sounds like a very
right
dickish thing to say.
Oh, my God.
I didn't mean it to sound like that.
No.
Just like there's two guests who might be able to get, if I can figure out.
Yeah, backpedal.
Well, we'll just leave it right there. That'll be a fun edit.
Just sending this to Mike. What was said?
Keep it in.